Hi, welcome back everybody. If today is your birthday, happy birthday today. Now, we're going to be reading about a sea creature that I think is kind of cool, but at the same time is a little dangerous if you're around them. And the creature that we're going to be reading about is jellyfish. So this is an informational book. This really happened. This is a nonfiction book, which I like to think is it's a fake book. I mean, not a fake book. It's not a fake book. It's a real information. It's not a story tale. That's what I mean by fake story. It's not a fake story. It's a real story. This is real information about all the different types of jellyfish. This is not an AR book, but keep at the time of this video. But please keep checking back because maybe one day it may be. Now this is a young readers. This is kind of like some of the other books where it tries to tell you what level it is. This is like a level 4. So this is probably about maybe 3rd grade level on reading these words and sentences that are in this book. The author is Ginjer L. Clarke, who writes this information. And it is for like fluent readers who can read on their own, and they can find they catch themselves if they make mistakes and can question themselves on finding out more information inside the book, things like that. So let's read about jellyfish. The introduction. What animals look like graceful underwater dancers but can kill like cobras? Jellyfish. There are more than 2,000 types of jellyfish. They come in many sizes, shapes, and colors. Some look like floating plastic bags, and others look like silly Santa hats. Some are troublemakers, some glow in the dark, and some are deadly. Jellyfish are found all around the world. They live in all oceans and many lakes too. The heaviest jellyfish is the giant Numeros jellyfish from Japan. It is 6 feet wide and weighs about 500 pounds. That is almost as big as a grand piano. So if you look at this particular jellyfish, it's swimming away, and you see a person who is a scuba diver there who's diving down to observe this jellyfish. Look how big. Look at the difference in size. Much bigger than the actual adult person. Look out below. The smallest jellyfish is Kingslayer. It's less than 1 inch wide, which is about less than 1 inch wide. Smaller than a fingernail, so smaller than your fingernail, but it is deadly. Its sting is 100 times stronger than a venom of a king cobra snake. The Kingslayer is a type of box jellyfish that lives in tropical waters around Australia. Box jellies are the most dangerous of all jellyfish. So box jellyfish, a lot of times if you look on the inside, you can see it has like it's more like the shape of a box on the inside as opposed to the outside. But on the inside, that's how I could always tell that those were boxed jellyfish just by looking at the inside. Because a lot of times, a lot of the fish you can see through them, which I find is very interesting through the jellyfish. Another kind of box jelly is Australian box jellyfish. It is the most venomous animal in the world. Its sting is very painful and can kill a person in minutes. The Australian box jelly has up to 60 long, stringy tentacles. These tentacles can sting even when they are in the water, but no longer attached to the jelly's body. So even if one of these long tentacles gets broken off of the jellyfish, if you swim by it and you rub against it, you'll still get stung. The jellyfish do not attack people though. Most stings happen when people accidentally touch a jellyfish while swimming in the ocean. I can attest to that. I have been to, it wasn't necessarily the ocean, but it was kind of like the inlet area where it kind of goes in, and it's not quite the river yet. And I went to the water, didn't see jellyfish, and good thing I didn't go all the way in, but I did get stung a few times. And it's just like when if you ever get stung by a bee or something like that, or somebody slaps your arm really hard and it stings for a while. That's what that particular jellyfish that I encountered, or jellyfish, I had more than one that stung me. That's what happened to me, and it stung for a few hours and eventually went away. But it was not a boxfish, thank heavens. Most jellyfish cannot swim. They just float and drift. But box jellyfish can swim and hunt. Zoom! A box jelly sees a shrimp and moves towards it. Boom! The jellyfish traps the shrimp in a tentacle and stuns it with venom. Box jellies can swim because they have something that other jellies do not. Eyes. Lots of them. Box jellies have 24 eyes that they use to find their way in the water. Other jellies only have spots that senses light. One jelly is so enormous that it does not need to go looking for food. It just waits for prey to come to it. This jelly's body is up to 8 feet wide. It's more than 800 tentacles are each 100 feet long, longer than a basketball court. These wild hair-like tentacles give this massive creature its name, the lion's mane. So, bigger than the first one we saw. This one here is much bigger. This one, it's the lion's mane. This one is only 6 feet wide and it weighs up to 500 pounds. But notice that the tentacles aren't very long. Now, if you look at this one, the lion's mane, its tentacles, if you ever played basketball or you go to PE and you play basketball, the court from one end to the other, from one basket to the other, that's how long each one of the 100 tentacles of this particular jellyfish in length is. That's long. These jellies live in the coldest waters. It spreads out its tentacles in a circle to form a net. Trap. It catches small fish, shrimp, and smaller jellies. Zap. The sting of the lion's mane jelly is so powerful that it has even been known to cause stings when it's dead. So sometimes jellyfish, the tentacles, you don't want to go around the tentacles because that's the part that stings. And if you find like jellyfish on the beach, a lot of times they wash up. try to pick it up with something else. Don't pick it up with your hands, because if a tentacle touches you, you'll get stung. So if you want to help that jellyfish get back into the ocean, pick it up with something. If you have like a beach shovel, pick it up with that and then toss it back into the ocean, because you don't want to pick it up with your hands. Another animal related to the jellyfish, like a cousin, is the Portuguese man-of-war. It does not sink in the water like true jellies. Its body is like a puffy blue bag. The sail on top helps it float like a boat. The man-of-war is shiny and beautiful. It sparkles and shimmers in the sunlight, but its tentacles are almost invisible beneath the surface. A school of fish swim near the man-of-war's long tentacles. Gotcha! The fish are stung and get stuck. So the fish are swimming by. They don't realize that it's a man-of-war and these tentacles. They think these tentacles are like seaweed or kelp or something like that. So they are swimming through it, but then they get stung and get caught. Watch us go. Like the man-of-war, golden jellyfish mostly stay at the water's surface. But like the man-of-war, golden jellies can open and close their bodies quickly to help them swim. Whoosh, swoosh. They swim slowly across the jellyfish lake on one of the islands in Palau in the Pacific Ocean as the sun moves across the sky. They need the energy from sunlight to survive. They do not need tentacles, though, because they get energy through algae and do not have predators. Golden fish have a very mild sting. People can swim in a swarm of millions of golden jellies unharmed. So, if you're reading this book and you're reading along with me, or you're just reading by yourself, there are some words that are in parentheses here. Okay, you see that? So what this is saying is telling you there's going to be a word before it. Okay? And the word before it, you may not know how to pronounce it, but here is telling you in parentheses on how to say it. So this word here is algae. If you didn't know how to pronounce it, how you would say it is algae. So algae, and it's telling you to say algae, algae. Okay, so that's what this means in parentheses. Okay, they're trying to tell you the word before it, this is how to pronounce it. Jellyfish get their name because they're gelatinous, again, in parentheses, telling you how to pronounce it, or jelly-like belly-shaped bodies. Jellyfish cannot live without water. They breathe water like fish do. Their bodies are made up mostly of water. Unlike fish, they are invertebrates. Again, in parentheses, how to pronounce it. They do not have spines. They also have no brain, no bones, or blood. So how do they know where to go and what to do? They have nerve nets instead of brains. Just like people have nerves in our fingers and toes to feel things, jellies have nerve nets to sense what is around them. So all over their top, their dome, underneath, and all their tentacles and the mane, they all have senses. And this particular jellyfish tells you down here, it's a compass jellyfish. This jellyfish senses a fish nearby. It spreads its tentacles and waits for this fish to swim close. Then the stingers in its tentacles stun the fish. munch, crunch. The jelly grabs the fish and pops the fish into its mouth. So it takes the fish and brings it on the inside in the middle where it has its body, it has its mouth and its so-called body. Some jellies eat teeny tiny plants and creatures called planktons. Others eat larger prey such as fish. The pink meanie jellyfish sometimes eats other jellies. Jellyfish have very simple bodies. The mouth is the only way for food to go in and out. Jellyfish both eat and poop through their mouths. Gross. One way in, one way out. Jellies are an important link in the ocean food chain. They eat many smaller creatures, but larger animals such as a giant sunfish, tuna, penguins, and turtles eat them. Slurp. This turtle has a mouth full of jelly. It closes its eyes to protect them from the jellyfish stings. People can eat jellies too. Chinese fishermen have caught the edible flame jellyfish for more than 1,000 years. Eating jellyfish may become more common for people and other animals as the number of jellyfish continues to grow. So we're starting to have more and more and more jellyfish growing and populating at a faster rate. And we're starting to see lots of jellyfish everywhere. Most jellies begin life as an egg and then become a planula. A planula uses a sticky food on its body to attach to a solid surface, such as a rock, a cave, or a shell. Now it is called a polyp. So the egg of the jellyfish, it starts to turn into a planula. And then it's floating, and then all of a sudden it catches either, it catches like seaweed or coral or rock, and it grabs its tentacles close to it and secures itself to that, to the surface of the kelp, the seaweed, the rock, the different types of things that are in the water, and then it starts to grow. Once it starts to grow, then it becomes a polyp. The polyps eat a lot of plankton to help it grow. And here's a cycle of the jellyfish. Then it makes many disc-shaped copies of itself or clones. These discs form a stack called a strobila. Pop, pieces of the strobila or ephyra breaks off and swims away. They grow into adult jellies called medusas. Soon the adult jellies has eggs and the cycle starts over. So if you look closely here, the cycle it shows, you have the jellyfish, it lays eggs, then it starts to turn to planulas, and then it'll attach itself to rocks and corals and things like that, and it becomes a polyp. The polyp grows and grows and grows and becomes a strobila, and then it starts growing polyps on top of each other. Then each one of those little polyps start breaking off, and those are the jellyfish. They turn into the ephyras, and then into the medusas, which are the adult jellyfish. See us grow. Adult moon jellies look clear and plain, but they have a cool secret. They are bioluminescent. These glow in the dark. Fireflies and glowworms are also bioluminescents. A moon jelly senses a big fish coming close. Flash! It lights up its body to confuse the fish. Dash! The moon jelly swims away quickly. It may also use its light show to attract another jelly and to lure prey. Jellyfish at the surface of the water are usually colorless, but those in the deep waters, remember I told you that we talked about that with one of the other books about the deep blue sea, how it gets darker and darker and darker, becomes really dark, like black dark. But those deep waters are red or purple. These colors cannot be seen in dark water. They provide camouflage and help the jellies to hide. Deep sea jellies sometimes glow too. The funny-looking Santa's hat jelly twinkles its red lights on and off like a Christmas tree. Wink, blink. So it kind of does look like Santa Claus's old Saint Nick's hat. I tell you what, if I turn this upside down, doesn't this look like a hat, like Santa Claus's hat? That's why they call it, it looks like Santa Claus's hat. These lights trick a large fish into thinking the jelly is a group of smaller creatures instead of one tasty treat. So the fish leaves the jelly alone. The alarm jelly is also dark red. It has a fancy light display. The alarm jelly senses danger is nearby. Whirl, twirl. A wave of blue lights race around its body. It is sending out an alarm signal. So this one, if you ever see some of the police officers' lights on their cars, especially in the movies, the really older cars, they had these blue lights that go around and around and around, and it was an alarm of a light show, and you would hear a sound of the police car. So this is letting you know that this is an alarm jellyfish. And the lights are used to scare the jelly's predators away. They are a call for help to a larger predator, such as a shark. The shark answers the jelly's alarm. The jellies can escape. Like the man-o-war, a comb jelly is not a true jellyfish. It does not have stingers, but it does have a dazzling display of glowing rainbow lights. The comb jellies gets its name from the rows of cilia that look like a comb. So I'm going to pull it up closer so you can see real close. These look like combs. So those are called cilias of this jellyfish. The cilia are like hundreds of little oars that help the jelly move its body through the water. As the cilia moves, they bounce light and create rainbows that attract prey. Fling, zing! The comb jelly throws out its sticky tentacles. Its prey is caught in a flash. A crystal jellyfish is another small jelly that can make big, bright light. It has more than 100 tiny lights surrounding its bell. These lights shine as bright blue-green color. Sea creatures can see these lights, but people can only see the glow under special lighting. Some scientists discover that the crystal jelly's glow helps us see invisible processes such as disease that happened inside our bodies. These scientists won an important award for what they learned using the crystal jelly's beautiful lights. So the scientists who were studying these jellies realized that, wow, they're using a special type an invisible process, and they started testing it out and noticing that it's starting that their process of these lights actually can show diseases that are in our bodies. Now, did you know? More scientists learn about jellies the more they realize how little they know. For example, they once thought all jellies swim and drift, but a stalked jellyfish, meaning it has a stalk or a stem like a plant, cannot move. It attaches its delicate trumpet-shaped body to some seaweed, grass, or rocks. Then the jellies wave its tiny, bumpy tentacles around. Nab, grab. It catches a small snail, munches it slowly, and spits out its shell. So this, if you didn't know, is actually a jellyfish. This is a stalked jellyfish, meaning it's got one stalk, doesn't have like tentacles the other way around. Like the jellyfish, normally they're like this. No, it's actually this way. Their tentacles are really shorter, or are much shorter than your regular jellyfish. Another question scientists have wondered about is whether all jellyfish have tentacles. The jellyfish group, called Deepstaria, are named after the submarine-like boat Deep Star 4000 that scientists were in when they first observed this type of weird jelly in the deepest part of the Pacific Ocean. They were amazed by what they saw. This Deepstaria does not have tentacles, but it is still a hunter. Its huge bag-like body flattens as it wanders in the water. Wow. The bumps on its body stings a crab. Snap. It pulls the bag closer to trap its prey. Some jellyfish live in the deepest parts of the ocean, but others have flown high in the air. Would you believe some jellyfish have actually traveled to outer space? It's true. More than 2,000 moon jellyfish polyps were launched into space on the Shuttle Columbia in 1991. Blast off! A scientist discovered the baby jellies to see how they grew without gravity and how they were different when they were brought back to Earth. This might help us understand what it would be like if humans were born in space. And pausing on that note real quick, that information would be very interesting to read on what the findings were of what the scientists, when they were studying this whole jellyfish experiment. So I think I'm actually going to look that up online myself and read up on that and see how the results, the outcome of that came about. So let's continue. Sometimes people use jellyfish to help solve problems, but other times the jellyfish are the problem. In the Sea of Japan, huge swarms of giant Nomura jellyfish were tangled up fishermen's nets. Some creative high school students in the town of Obama, Japan, captured lots of the giant jellies in nets. And then they did something unexpected. They turned the jellies into sweet treats. The students made jellyfish powder and put it into cookies and caramel candies. Yum. That would be interesting to try out. I would say if you want to try that out, if you're not in Japan, if you're in the U.S. or maybe somewhere Europe or South America somewhere, if you go to maybe an Asian grocery store, they might actually have this. You probably have to ask them for it. The most amazing discovery scientists have made about jellyfish is that one jellyfish can live forever. Did you know that? The word immortal means never dying. So then immortal means it doesn't die. When the immortal jellyfish, that's this one, grows old, instead of dying, it starts life over. Pow! It pulls its tentacles back into its body, shrinks, and becomes a baby jelly again. This is like if a butterfly could turn back into a caterpillar. The only way an immortal jellyfish can die is if it is eaten. Wow. This amazing ability might help scientists to better understand and one day cure diseases such as cancer. So I'm sure they're still studying this particular jellyfish about, well, how does it stay alive forever? That is so interesting that it can turn, it's like turning back time where, like, say for me, I'm older and then I can turn back to be a younger adult, then a teenager, then a kid, a little toddler, and then a baby, and then I can start the process over and grow older again. That is really interesting that this jellyfish can do, the immortal jellyfish. Only the immortal jellyfish lives forever, but jellyfish are some of the oldest creatures on Earth. They have adapted and survived for about 600 million years, and they are thriving. Now, there are more jellyfish than ever. They can live in warmer and changing oceans better than other creatures. But that can cause big trouble. Sometimes millions of jellyfish gather in groups so thick that they clog fishing nets or keep people away from beaches. Jellies have even damaged and shut down nuclear power plants when they get sucked inside. So have you ever been to the ocean, and then I guess some lakes that have the jellyfish, but I know the ocean, the lifeguards, and they'll let you know, they'll have it written on the lifeguards board, they'll have red flags up that you can't go swimming because there's jellyfish in the ocean and you're going to get stung. Are jellyfish harmful or helpful? Probably both. Some scientists believe they may be the most important sea creatures, both as predators and prey. These beautiful blobs from below are fascinating and fierce, and they are here to stay. And this one particular jellyfish is called the Pacific sea nettle. I think that's a pretty orange color with some darker hues of orange in there. Look like red. And so this author has written some other books. There are some written about sharks and some of the different types of frogs, about some bats. She's got some other books out. But very fascinating book to learn about all the different types of jellyfish. If you'd like to check this one out or purchase it, is by Ginjer L. Clarke. Again, this is a level 4 reader. So, I hope you really liked this video. If you have, click like, and if you don't mind, if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel real quick, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you could share it. Now, if you would like for me to read a book, if you will check the links below, I have a Facebook page that is catered just for this channel, where it gives you information and you can message me through there. If you want me to read a book, message me through there. If I haven't done the video, I'll try to get that book and read it on a video for you and give you a shout out. So, see you in the next video. Bye.